And thank God my baby is safe and healthy.
Thank God for that.
He just graduated from pre-K actually today.
Oh,
So,
congratulations. I know that must make you proud.
Mm-hmm.
Every accolade it's such a good celebration for sure.
Right.
I have a guest in the audience because, now we're starting these, allowing the guests to come and ask questions and speak their experiences with anything they hear on the show. I would like to bring up, who we got here? And let's see. Oh, we got Sheila White. Miss Sheila White, when it come on over. So it's crazy, right? When I was watching some of the videos on you, she was in the room. She's like, oh my goodness, I went through that. I experienced that. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love for you to come up and tell me about this experience and, talk to you too about what she went through. Mm-hmm. Yes, come on over right here. You can be camera 3. And into the mic. Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
Okay. So Sheila, when I brought up that video, how did it make you feel when she was talking about her experience with the uterus fibroids?
Well, I experienced it as well. Mm-hmm. I like to let her know that usually 80% of women may experience fibroids. Mm-hmm. That is something that's one of the statistics. Mm. And I am a big believer in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And it talks about the woman with the issue of blood. And the woman with the issue of blood most likely had fibroids. Mm-hmm. So they talked about how she bled for 12 years. I had the experience of bleeding for 18 years.
Wow.
Mm. And so I had that fibroid. The fibroids was extremely large. They had to do the surgery too, but mine grew through my uterus. Mm. I had a fibroid that was so large that they had to get a stomach specialist as well as the OBGYN doctor to do that type of surgery because of how large it was and how many years I experienced that. My hemoglobin count was a 6.1. Most women or most people have hemoglobin, a blood count of anywhere between 11.0 to 16.0.
Wow, so it's so low.
So I was walking around with less than half the blood level that a normal person would have. They warned me, had I been in a car accident, that I would have bled to death because my blood count was so low. So at the time before I had to have my surgery, I had to get on, they wanted to use me as a form of experiment for women to take these type of pills that had not even came on the market. Because my blood level was so low, they were saying that they would need to do a blood transfusion before even, in the surgery, do a blood transfusion. So they put me on these experimental drugs before it even hit the market, wanting to see if, in fact, it would bring my blood count up. So I was on that medication for about 3 weeks. And it brought my hemoglobin count up to a 9.4, I believe. So I did not have to have the blood transfusion, but they did go in and remove it. And when they removed it, of course, I elected to keep my ovaries. But when they removed it, they said it was the size of a miniature football.
Sheesh.
So I walked around with my stomach. Most people with fibroids have protruding stomach, look like maybe 5-6 months pregnant.
That's what she was saying.
I developed where I didn't have a whole lot of energy because of the many years of bleeding, because I was basically hemorrhaging. Most people with fibroids either have light menstrual periods or they have extremely heavy menstrual periods. And mine was extreme where I would hemorrhage constantly. So that's where I was losing the blood. And that's the reason why my hemoglobin count was so low. It was not producing fast enough for it to keep
To replenish, right?
Yeah, right.
Wow. So that's so important. Knowledge is power, I say, right? And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I feel like we should talk about this on the show because I'm sure a lot of women are going through this. And some may be scared right away when they hear about it and be like, oh my God, is this fatal? What can we do? You know, will I lose my baby? So I wanted to touch that because it's important when you have your people that experienced and went through it, not just reading it in a book or reading it online, to know it's going to be okay. It's important to follow what the doctors say. Make sure you go to the doctor as soon as you feel something is wrong, because we wait. I'm sure if you handled it a little bit sooner, it wouldn't have been so extreme for you, you know?
Well, I had been diagnosed with it, but one of the things with fibroids is that they have to give you some type of ultrasound to find out what type of fibroid it is, because some fibroids can be cancerous. There are other fibroids that aren't. So they had to, one, rule out the fact that this was one that was cancerous, not cancerous.
Right.
And second of all, is they needed to see if it was the type of fibroid that would grow during pregnancy, because at the time when I was diagnosed, I was already 3 months pregnant.
Oh, so you was pregnant too?
I was pregnant, yes. And I found out with my son, but they needed to know if it was the type of fibroid that would grow during pregnancy. Because if it was the type that would grow through pregnancy, then they would have to monitor me really close, because it can get as large as a baby and it causes you to abort quickly. So that's where a lot of people have miscarriages because of that. So I fortunately was one that I didn't have the type that grew during pregnancy. And because if I didn't experience difficulties afterward, then they said, okay, some people can live with it or whatever. But after a while, it developed where having sexual intercourse was very difficult, very painful and stuff. So I had to deal with it at that point, but I did carry it for 18 years.
See, I would never let it go that long. And I feel like with these experiences, sometimes it's best to always get second opinions. Even if, say, you had your full term of your pregnancy, after that, keep following up and seeing how far it prolongs, because look what happened. You could have gotten in an accident and bled to death. Your blood count was so low, you didn't even know until you felt something was wrong, right? So always listen to your body. You know, I'm so proud of you for speaking up about this type of topic. You know, being a woman on television, I know we're scrutinized for everything, you know, and it's important for us to let people know we're human too. We're real, just like you guys are who are watching us on television.
And sometimes we don't want to share things because of them attacking.
Yes.
Or, you know, making things up.
Yes.
And another thing I want to say is I actually went to a doctor here. And this is why I don't deal with a lot of doctors in Vegas, because they told me originally, oh, you're going to have a hysterectomy. But because I was knowledgeable in it, my doctor who delivered my baby, I always have my kids at Cedars in LA. So I was born there. All my kids were born there. So my doctor was African American. The ones here were Caucasian. And I just felt like they weren't on my side because they were lying in my face.
That's why, girl, I say second opinion always, especially when it comes to big moments and big decisions like that.
Right. Right. Because when they said hysterectomy, I said, that's a lie. And they were trying to challenge me on things. But see, my doctor that was African American already told me that delivered my kids, and she actually did the surgery on my mom. And she told me, you have options. It's not just hysterectomy. No. So when they told me that, I knew they were up to no good.
Right.
And it worried me because it made me feel like, what if a younger girl came in there and had it done?